They couldn't catch another ship, yeah. And it's like a lotus, so it's time to flip the script, yeah. Cruising through the bay on that fucking air battleship, sold up, screaming out.
Welcome to another edition of Buc What You Heard. My name is Gene. You can reach me at Super Heavyweight. You follow me, I'll follow you back. I'm joined today by my co-host, Michael Pless. How are you doing today, Michael?
I'm doing great, Gene. Glad to be back on, and thankfully preseason is almost over.
Man, I'm so excited about that.
Yeah.
You know, we're gonna kick off the show. We're gonna talk about the game versus the Detroit Lions. That's what a lot of people call your dress rehearsal for the regular season, where you get to see your starters for more than a half and going into the third quarter. And I thought the starters made a good showing. And again, for a defensive line that's just starting to get together, I know there's a lot of work to be done. So it's going to be one of those things that they're going to continually do. So I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm actually excited. We decided tonight we're going to skip the fourth preseason game and the 53-man roster and jump right into the New Orleans Saints later on in the back end of the show. But for those of you that are interested in the 53-man roster, our friends over at Pewter did an awesome job. I love their work, and I think they hit the nail on the head on their pick. So if you need something to check out for the 53-man roster, go ahead and jump over there. I have the link on the podcast as well, so you can jump over there and check that out. But Mike, I wanted to get your thoughts on this Detroit Lions game versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What are your thoughts? And I'm only going to talk about the first half. I don't care about the loss. That doesn't mean anything. It is what it is. Austin Allen. But I do want to focus. I do want to focus on the first team, and I'm going to start with the defense because that. And we've both said it, but I think I've said it a lot more. The defense has been of something that I'm really watching very closely because of last year and how they performed. So, I just want to kind of get your thoughts on the defense, and we'll start off there.
I got feedback.
Okay.
So I'm not
hearing it. Yeah, you're good.
Okay. But yeah, I thought it was I thought defensively, okay. They were physical. I thought they stopped the run a little bit for the first half. 2 of 6 on third downs, which is solid. Again, they had those 3rd and 9s. I would like to see them be a little bit more aggressive, get off the field a little bit, especially on the second series the defense had. They had them pinned back, I think, on the 1 or the 2 yard line and let them go down the field. So I would have liked to see them be a little bit more aggressive on that end and maybe try to force a turnover or something along those lines. I thought pass rush overall, it was okay. Didn't see much as far as from the big name guys. A couple of good rushes here and there. JPP had some good rushes off the edge. But, nothing where it's like outstanding. I think they still have to find their chemistry, and hopefully they have it for week 1 against the Saints because they're going to need it. That front 7 has got to be on point, and we have to get after the quarterback. But, overall, I saw a lot of good things. I thought Vernon Hargreaves looked good, made a couple pass breakups. He looks very comfortable in that nickel position, which I think they're going to keep him there. Carlton Davis, they didn't really attack Carlton Davis from what I saw. I think he had that one miscommunication, which I thought was Conte's fault, and I think all the fans thought it was Conte's fault. But they had that miss. Just everyone missed on that play, and they allowed the guy to go on the wheel route. So, got to clean those things up. But overall, not bad. And again, no injuries, so that's the good thing.
Yeah, most definitely. And these are mistakes that you expect to see in preseason, not in the regular season. So, personally, I would rather see them now and get them addressed if that's what they're going to do. and get ready for this game against the New Orleans Saints. So just looking at this defense, what can you take away from this defense that you can carry into the regular season that you're seeing right now? And I know this is, again, I understand this is preseason, folks, and we've got that cleared up, but there are some trends, good and negative trends, can carry into the regular season. So just your ideas on what you see that could carry over like that.
Well, I think, first of all, I think it's third down defense, which I think they've been, for the most part, pretty good in the preseason so far. I think they're holding teams in the, under 30%, or at least close to that, which is good. I think, overall, the linebacker play has been okay. I think there's just a lot of good things as far as they're not allowing too much as far as overall big plays down the field. They're flying to the football, which is good. For the most part, solid tackling. Again, it can be improved. I thought they've gotten better with their tackling, especially last week. I thought the linebackers were much better in tackling as far as that goes. But yeah, I mean, nothing that really jumps off the wall. I thought they played really good against actually the Titans. I thought they played better. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, I think there's signs there that show this it's capable of being very good. The defense, I would say. Yeah, I mean, you can see the talent. You can see the talent on the front four. Again, we haven't been able to see everyone yet, which is a bummer. You haven't been able to see Vita Vea yet or Mitch Unrein. So hopefully we can get them back, and that'll make our defense even better. But, I'm impressed with the rookies in the secondary. I think Carlton Davis, MJ Stewart, Jordan Whitehead, all those guys have flashed, which is good. Other than that, yeah, I mean, I'd say third down defense is probably the biggest trend, though.
Yeah, and that's something to definitely keep an eye on. And I know I've mentioned that before. I don't want to make a big deal out of it, but it's just something to kind of keep an eye on. It's something that carried over from last year, and it's something that hopefully it does get addressed. And, when you have your first team out as much as they had them out, there were multiple opportunities to get the Detroit Lions off the field, and they didn't capitalize on any of those third and longs. So, or not any of them, I can't say any of them, but the majority of them, they didn't capitalize on them like they should have. Now, with that being said, this is where you get into scheming, and you have players that weren't playing in this preseason game that'll be ready to go. And so this team that we saw, in Detroit or in Tampa playing against Detroit won't look the same as what we saw. So what we'll be seeing on week 1. So to me, it may not be a big deal, but it's definitely something to keep your eye on, kind of moving forward. And, I'm going to kind of stick with the defense. I'm going to ease into special teams in just a moment. But the secondary, I know we touched on the secondary again. Anybody out there that just kind of you're kind of concerned about, you're not sure how they're going to do, or again, this is preseason, but just, do you think they're pretty solid and they're ready to go, or is about as good as they're going to be, or where are you at with it overall?
Yeah, again, and like you said, it is preseason, so again, we can't take any of this stuff that they've shown so far. Like, we can't really take it. You have to take it with a grain of salt, because again, that's why I look for
basically.
Yeah, because again, we're running vanilla defenses. You don't want to show anything. We're not going to show any of our blitz packages. You're not going to show any of your aggressive coverages as far as mixing it up between man and zone. So we're trying to save all that for Drew Brees week 1. But again, there is certain players that I wish, obviously Chris Conte, I just, for whatever reason, he just seems two steps late on most plays. It just seems like either he's going to be aggressive and go all in, and he either takes a bad angle or he's in the wrong spot, and it costs him. So that's why I'm hoping like Jordan Whitehead can, keep raising his game and hopefully take that spot eventually, similar to what a Justin Evans did last season. So I'm hoping that happens. But, overall, I thought the secondary has been okay. Again, those rookie corners have really stepped up. I like how all our guys have really contested and fight for the football, or at least made plays on the ball with deflections and things like that. Again, you would like to see a little bit more interceptions. I think we only had one so far. So I'm not too concerned. Again, there's probably, the safety play is going to have to be better, though, for sure. That's probably my biggest concern is the safety play.
Yeah, and a lot of that is predicated on the pass rush as well. So
exactly, yeah,
it all works hand in hand. I'm gonna, give my synopsis. That's our college or SAT word for the day. Synopsis. No, seriously. I'm gonna, I'm looking at the defensive line, and I saw good things. JPP. I'm really glad that he's with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I like his play. He's got his motor's always running. And I think eventually he's going to get home. He's getting close to these, getting close to getting sacks. And eventually he's going to get it all zoned in, and he will start bringing it home. Gerald McCoy is Gerald McCoy, just the way he plays. And I'm excited about that. If he can stay healthy, Joe McCoy, JPP, and some of these other, linemen that we brought in, I think that
Vinny Curry.
Vinny Curry. Vinny Curry flashed as well. Something to definitely look forward to with Vinny Curry. So again, these are players that if they can get it together and play as a cohesive unit, they can make a lot of noise, and they can be a lot of problems for a lot of offenses. So I like that. The linebacker play for me was definitely improvement over the week before. I like that they were, flying to the ball like you mentioned. I thought the tackling was a lot better. They're getting themselves in their groove right now, and again, they're not playing as a unit yet, but you can see where they're headed in that direction. This is definitely a different look than what we saw last season with camp, just based on everything I've seen and heard, and all the information that we've been provided. This looks like it's a totally different camp, a little bit more competitive. There seems to be more of a sense of urgency, and hopefully this carries into the regular season.
Yeah, definitely. And, like I said, a lot of vanilla coverage. So just because we see this, during the preseason doesn't mean that's what they're going to present week one. Again, they're trying to hold back a lot of, things that they're going to throw at, the Saints. So I think it's just, using that personnel in the right way. And I think they have the guys now where they can be more creative than they were, say, last year, where they pretty much had nobody on the defensive line. Guys were falling on the ground consistently, couldn't get past tight ends. Now they have guys that can anchor the edge and really get after the quarterback, along with Gerald McCoy. They have some guys that can push the pocket. So, I mean, that's going to make a world of difference, because that's really what Mike Smith wants to do. He wants to be able to play that zone coverage, but also be able to play it aggressively, because you have a pass rush that can get there, and that can force the quarterback to throw the ball early, allowing guys like Brent Grimes to do what he does, and that's be aggressive and jump routes. That's really what we want to see.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, but if these guys can get home, if they can get this pass rush generated, I don't think it will. I think it'll definitely help the linebacker core and the safeties. I don't think that will be as big of an issue if they can get pressure on the quarterback. Not so much sacks, but getting pressure on him, making him uncomfortable, making him throw the ball before he wants to, not giving him a chance to scan the field and see everything. I think that's going to be huge for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's going to be the engine that drives the defense right there, is that line getting pressure on the quarterback. So for the Buccaneers to be successful, and I believe that they will, again, just based on what happened last season, I really believe that a lot of these players that are still here, I believe that humbled them and got their mind right and getting ready for these games. And the Saints are right around the corner, so that's something to really prepare for. And we'll definitely be talking about the Saints here at the back end of the show. So I want to take a chance to take a moment and talk about special teams. And what I want to start with is the kickoff return for a touchdown that Detroit had. And did you, just overall special teams, do you think in just what you've seen this preseason so far, are they ready to go, or do you think there's a lot of work that needs to be done, or what are your opinions on that?
I think for the most part they've been good. That touchdown that they allowed against Detroit, I think that was just a little kick too far, and then coverage was just very poor. Overran their coverage and got caught. And it happens, but I think they'll be fine. Anger is usually pretty good at getting that ball high in the air, allowing the coverage to make plays. They had a missed extra point, which was disappointing. Again, that was a bad snap. They just brought in Garrison Sanborn, who was the long snapper last year, so they might be going with him for the season, which makes sense. I mean, he's a veteran, and you can't afford to have bad snaps during the season. So, not bad. I don't know did Cannizaro have a field goal attempt in this game? I'm not sure if he did or not.
30. Yeah.
I don't. I think what, he had one late. He had one late in the game. That's right. Yeah, 40. To put him up at 30. But yeah, overall, I really like Sean Wilson. I like his return game. That guy, he's got skills, and I really liked what they did with him, using him back there, and even in punt returns. I like that Deshaun Jackson was back there on punt returns. I like that. I'm all about that if they want to give him that opportunity, because he is a playmaker, and getting 10 to 15 yards per return, that's huge for your offense. And it can really set up everything. So, and same with the kickoff return. If you can start the offense at the 30 or the 35, that's huge. I mean, it's really big.
Totally different at that point.
Yeah. So, overall, I think it's been solid, and I'm not really concerned as far as the special teams goes. I think they'll be fine.
All right. Hey, I'm with you 100%. Sean Wilson is somebody that's really surprised me. I hadn't got a lot of chances to see him, but I like his burst. I like his step. I think that he's somebody that should make this team, this 53. And this will probably be one of the few times I allude to the 53-man roster in the show, but it's one of those. He's one of those guys. I would love to see him on this team. I think that he can be a contributor to this team. So. As far as special teams goes, I thought they did good the majority of the time. They were getting down there and getting stops. And, like you said, it was one of those one-offs where they just overran the coverage. So, again, special teams, I think they're on track. And let's hope that they're able to, produce when week 1 rolls around. So I really want to get over to the offense, because the offense was pretty exciting. Watching the quarterbacks. So, all 3 quarterbacks, well, I can't say, I have to say all 3 quarterbacks have done very well. I know a lot of people, Twitter pretty much had cut Ryan Fitzpatrick, but I thought he did a good job personally. And, just as long as you're not putting the ball in the other team's hands, and you play that field position battle, don't be the reason that the team loses,
Yeah, definitely. I think, you have to start there with the quarterback play for this preseason so far. It's been outstanding. I think our combined QB rating for all 3 have been at least 100 and over 100. So 6 touchdowns, no interceptions. I mean, Jameis Winston was as good as I've seen him play, preseason wise or anytime really. 3 straight games, he was very consistent, on point, accurate. And same thing with Ryan Griffin. We really haven't seen Ryan Griffin that much because he's either been hurt or been put in bad situations. And to see him go out there and play like he did was very nice to see. And Fitzpatrick, I thought he's been steady, and that's what matters. So, it was good to see him out there, taking care of the ball. That first drive, we were just running the ball down their throats with Peyton Barber, and Peyton Barber is a hell of a running back. I mean, he is very underrated. His patience and vision is what's going to keep him continuing guy to be that RB1, and I think he's definitely earned that. So, yeah, I mean, overall, that first drive was really nice, especially with a misshift offensive line. You got a lot of backups in there, so it was just nice to see running game, some good passes. OJ Howard with that nice catch over the middle, that was nice to see. And then
that blatant offensive pass interference call.
Yeah, that was later in the game, and that was pretty bad. But then, yeah, the second drive, pretty solid, not too bad. Had a nice pass to Rojo, and he caught the ball, which was nice to see. And then, yeah, and then we had some unfortunate penalties, and had a backup and punt. I would have liked to see us try that long field goal, but I understand what they were trying to do there. Practice that situation, pin the offense back, and they executed perfectly. So, but overall, the offense for this preseason was just very fun to watch. I like the play calling, the mix of balance and run and pass, and just the quarterback execution was really nice to see.
Yeah, most definitely. And I'm of the mind that it won't carry over into the regular season, but it was good to see the offensive coordinator have his hand in the play calling, because that frees up your head coach to do other things and handle details. And I think that's what's one of those little things that's really been missing from this team, is when you're focused on being a play caller and other things kind of, you depend on other people instead of making those decisions yourself, or being able to see those things to make decisions. So ultimately, I would love to see Todd make those play calls throughout the season, but I just don't see it happening. But
No.
And my take on it, I love Peyton Barber. I think Peyton Barber earned that starting running back spot just based on what he did. And
he's averaging over 6 yards a carry. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. And it's what's interesting to me, and I'll be the first to admit it. I was one of those guys that said, let's see what Doug Martin can do. And I think they held on to Doug Martin too long last year. And I think that Peyton Barber is one of those guys, you have to feed him the ball. And he gets stronger throughout the game. But, just think about where he's at, and he made a good opportunity. He took the most out of the opportunity he was given, and he, look at him now. He's your starting running back. So again, I can't say anything bad about him, and again, it's one of those things, you need that running game in order to make this offense produce a lot more than what it has been. But guys like Mike Evans, Deshaun Jackson, getting them involved, Chris Godwin, I'm starting to hear his name mentioned a whole lot more in the national media. I'm good with the national media not even mentioning the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Let's hope it stays that way throughout the season. But again, this is a better team than the 5-win team that you saw last year, and I will stand by that. If I'm wrong at the end of the season, I'll admit I'm wrong. And as far as I'm concerned, they are a better team than what you saw last season. Let's see.
But yeah, I mean, Gene.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, but Gene, I mean, I didn't even mention the wide receivers, and that's probably the strongest unit on the team right now. I mean, the receiver group is so deep with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Deshaun Jackson looks so much better. Like you said earlier, I mean, he's ready to break out this year. Same thing with Chris Godwin, and Adam Humphries just continues to be that guy that everyone forgets about, and he's always open. I mean, he just finds a way to get open. So. And then our tight end group is ridiculous. OJ Howard, Cameron Brate, Claire is one hell of a blocker. So it's just it should be an exciting offense. I mean, like we said last year, we have the weapons to make this work. It's just about finding ways to utilize them the best we can and get those guys in position to succeed, and really, find that execution from quarterback to receiver. Get it to a point where it's just pitch and catch, and I think that's where we're heading. It looks like we're getting more comfortable with that. So, I mean, it's going to be a fun offense. I think we have everything there is to make this happen.
Yeah, and the key, like you said, that's the word That's the word for this year. The word for this year, 2018, is execution. That's gonna net you wins if you're able to play your assignment, do what you're supposed to do, and not turn the ball over. You're giving yourself a better opportunity to win games, and that's the name of the game this year is wins and losses. Oh, and as Mark mentioned, we haven't even talked about Alan Cross, a guy that basically we pretty much wrote him off, but here he is.
Yeah, Alan Cross is, I mean, again, he's just like Adam Humphries. I mean, the guy just does his job and he's always very consistent. Great fullback / tight end. He can play multiple positions. You can put him out in the slot and he can make plays. I would love to see him utilized more as a fullback in this offense and really allow him and Peyton Barber to work together. They showed that a little bit against Detroit, and I thought it worked really well. And then, you could use him as a, option in the passing game because you're going to have guys so focused on our receiving core and other tight ends, that Alan Cross is going to be open. I mean, there's going to be where he'll be left open and you get that 5 to 6 yards and you can pretty much take that all day. So that's something that we have to look for. Yeah.
All right. So your overall thoughts, we're going to jump into the Saints right now. But your overall thoughts on that Detroit game, anything? Oh, and we got to talk about Adam Humphries. Got to give props to the Lazarus man, the guy that everybody keeps leaving for dead and basically tossing him to the side of the road every off season. But here he is making plays. So shout out to him. That was a nice return, and that's everybody was talking about it. So it's one of those things.
Yeah, that was probably one of the best plays we've seen as far as preseason plays go. It was exciting to see because I knew once he got past that first guy and then he makes the cut to the left, gets past those 3 linemen, pretty much he had it from there. You pretty much have the advantage when you get past those first couple of guys, because the special teams are not designed, especially the kick team, they're not designed to cover returns like that because they don't have the athletic guys on the field. They mostly have big offensive linemen that they're not used to running sideline to sideline. So once he had the convoy set up, I knew he was going to get in, and it was what?
Did you see JPP out there blocking?
Yeah, JPP, Quan. Yeah, I mean, Werner Hargraves was leading the way. So, it was great to see, and that was one of the fun plays for sure.
Yeah. So we're gonna jump over to the New Orleans Saints. This is a team that's always concerning. I mean, ever since we've been in this division, they've always played Tampa tough. It's never been a cakewalk. We're gonna win this game, and for them, and I was on the Saints podcast last week, and they said the same thing. Of all the teams in the division, they hate seeing Tampa because Tampa comes in with that we don't have anything to lose attitude, and they totally messes things up for them. So hopefully Tampa can come in and get off to a good start, especially in the NFC South. That's going to be huge. But we're going to start with the big news, the elephant in the room. Finally, Teddy Bridgewater was traded, but he was traded to the New Orleans Saints. Now we don't have to hear about him on media anymore because he's not for trade. So talking about that move right there, what did that move say to you when you first heard about it?
Yeah, I mean, I thought, at first I didn't like it because it's NFC South, but for Teddy Bridgewater, that's probably the perfect fit for him as far as an offense and head coach to go to. It really suits his game very well. I mean, that's what he does. I mean, it's a quick, short passing game, West Coast offense. He's got great pieces around him. So I think it's a great fit, especially if they can sign him long-term and be the future quarterback for their team. So, I thought it was a solid move, and only giving up a 3rd round pick. That's not too bad.
Yeah. But I know a lot of people will say, he hasn't played since I think he finally completed a pass in 2015 was the last time he completed a pass, but he's looked good in preseason this year. And I think that that's a good move for them. However, when you look at the team, the players that they have in place right now, your second string and your third string quarterbacks, what does that say about them? I mean, it looks like the New Orleans Saints are really pushing to go to the Super Bowl. I mean, that's their run, and just having a backup quarterback, and which is what they've done, is upgraded at the backup quarterback position. I think that bodes well for them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Drew Brees is, on his later part of his career. I mean, he's, I think, 38 years old or getting closer to 40.
Yeah.
But again, he's still such a great quarterback, playing at a high level. So, you figure if he's going to be around for, either one or two more seasons, just to have Teddy Bridgewater there, I think is going to be a huge benefit for the Saints going forward. He can really grow into that offense, and I think as long as he's healthy, I mean that's a great move for them.
Yeah, and just kind of going from quarterback to running back, we know that Mark Ingram will not be available for this game. I think he's suspended 3 games or 2.
He is out for the first 4, I believe.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So, what that does to the running game, I think you can kind of focus more on Alvin Kamara, but the guy is just amazing. Just watching him run.
Yeah.
Watching him against the Chargers and their first string defense, I thought he really looked good. I mean, he basically picked up where he left off from last season. So that's somebody that I'm sure that the Bucs are watching game film on, and they're looking back on how things went last season. And you're a head coach, put your head coach hat on. How are you going to game plan for an Alvin Kamara?
Well, Alvin Kamara, I think you want to keep him inside the tackles if it's me. I mean, if you do force him outside, you just want to make sure there's no gaps. You want to force him to that sideline and push him out of bounds. But if it was me, I would have either Quan Alexander or Levante David pretty much on him all game and try to either send them on a blitz and just attack Kamara. Don't even worry about Drew Brees. Just attack Kamara every chance you get and really force him to, try to make plays with a guy on him or something along those lines, and really try to keep him at bay, because again, he's going to have his plays. He's just a very talented player, but as long as you can limit his touches, I think that's what you try to get into. The Saints are one of the most, they pass the ball to the running backs and tight ends the most out of any other team, especially on first and second down. They love going to their backs on early downs, because really it's an easy 5 to 6 yards. So they find ways to get their guys in space and allow them to make plays. Their screen game is probably one of the best in the league. That is something that we struggled with last year against them. So we have to watch the screens, and
that leads me to my next question for you right there.
Yeah.
The slants and the screen passes. You as a head coach, how do you defend against those screens and slants?
Well, it's all about disrupt timing. You have to find a way, especially in the league today with these quick passing offenses that the Saints are. You got to disrupt the timing somehow, whether it's from your defensive line and penetration, or if it's your guys in coverage, whether it's your corners, your linebackers, and safeties. They have to find a way to jam these guys at the line of scrimmage and push them off their routes, especially with the screens. You gotta force them to get off that route and really force them into the linebackers, and that will allow you to make more plays on the ball. Either that, or you just hit them really hard. You gotta make them pay when they go across the middle. But yeah, I mean, it's all about disrupting timing. Steve, the former defense coordinator for the Giants, he said it on Game Pass. He was like, you got to disrupt timing in this league, or you're going to have some trouble. And if you don't do that, then you better have a good pass rush.
Yeah, because that's the one thing I've noticed about Drew Brees is he's putting the ball's out of his hand, and he's throwing to a spot. He's not throwing to a receiver. He's throwing to an area where you have to be. So, when I see and again, maybe I don't understand what's going on, but I see a lot of times your backs or your cornerbacks are off the ball 7-8 yards. And these guys are hitting these dink and dunks and they're moving the ball down the field. Do you see this defense as being able to potentially press against the Saints? Do you see that as a possibility, or will we see them playing off the ball?
Well, I think, unfortunately, you can't play press the whole game. It would wear out your secondary. They're just not conditioned.
But in key positions, I guess I should have.
Yeah, no, you're good. I think they're going to mix it up. I think you have to definitely find a way to press these guys, because Michael Thomas is just too good, especially when you give him space as far as zone coverage, because he'll find the holes. Very good route runner. So I mean, they're going to have to play some type of man coverage and mix it up with their zone looks and really try to disguise their blitzes and really get after Drew Brees. But I mean, it all starts with stopping the run game. The Saints are at their best when they can run the football and utilize their play action passing game, because Drew Brees is so good at that and getting the tight ends down the field and getting his slot receivers going. So we're going to have to stop the run. So that's why I think, utilizing some early run blitzes to start the game and really come after the line of scrimmage is going to be, I think, a good way to start. Trying to think what else, but yeah, I mean, they're a tough offense to stop. I mean, again, it's just about finding ways to get them in 3rd and long situations and then get off the field. I mean, do whatever you can to get off the field on 3rd down.
Yeah, the one thing I've noticed about Drew Brees is he hates getting hit. He hates being uncomfortable. Him and Matt Ryan, I think Matt Ryan may be worse, but Drew Brees doesn't do well when he gets hit or bumped or there's pressure on him. It definitely throws off his timing and it affects the game. So hopefully, the line can get to him and rattle him a little bit, and that will definitely help. But for starters, again, you have to stop the run. You have to be able to wrap up the tackles. If there's a play and you can get that tackle, that's what you have to do to get this team off the field. 3 and outs are going to be huge in this game, only because it's Drew Brees. I would rather see the Buccaneers offense with the ball more of the time than seeing the New Orleans Saints on the field. So,
yeah, I mean, the key is just, like I said earlier, we got to stop the run. You have to win on 1st down against this team. You have to set them up in 2nd and 3rd and long situations where you can really be aggressive and come after the quarterback. And I think the Bucs need to be aggressive as far as with their blitzes and their mixing of zone to man coverage, because they got to find ways to get either Brees moving laterally east to west, where he's not as accurate when he's moving on the run. And that showed, if you go back to 2016, when we held him to 11 points at Ray J, we were making him move inside the pocket, and he was flustered pretty much the whole game, and he was throwing ducks. I mean, he's throwing balls into the dirt. So that is something that this defense is going to have to do. Again, it starts up front with the front 7, so they're going to have to make it very uncomfortable for that offense to get into a rhythm, because once they get in a rhythm, they're pretty tough to stop, and they can get firing pretty good.
Yeah, and the one thing I like Darth Vader BIH. He was saying if the D line doesn't play well, it's going to be a long game, and that's the truth of it right there. That first game against the Saints last year, defensive line couldn't get any pressure, and that was a long game. That was the game where Mike Evans and Jameis Winston and Lattimore. I think that's the game that Peyton was mad at Dirk Cutter about or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, well, to that extent, I mean, we didn't really have any defensive linemen going. You had guys getting blocked by tight ends, guys falling on the ground, or the Saints were getting away with holding calls on blocking the backs and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, it's just something that they're going to have to do. I mean, this is why we bring in guys like JPP and Vinny Curry for this moment to get after quarterbacks in this NFC South, because if we want to get back to the playoffs, we got to beat these teams in our division. That's where it starts. Yep. So finding ways to be, first of all, better at the run. We can't allow these teams to get 7 yards of carry, and you have second and third and shorts. Just can't have that. So you got to find a way to, like I said, disrupt timing and make plays on the ball. Yeah,
there you go. So I want to switch over to the offensive side of the ball. And, again, you have Ryan Fitzpatrick as your starting quarterback. And it looks like we have Peyton Barber as your running back. As a head coach, how do you game plan against that Saints defense based on what you've seen?
Well, I would try to actually copy a little bit of what the Saints, do on offense, and that is throw the ball to your running backs and tight ends, especially early on first and second down. I would come out into this game and I would start with the pass if I can. That, again, it depends on your offensive line. If you have your key guys in there offensive line-wise, whether that's Donovan Smith and you have everybody in place, I would come out throwing and really try to set the run up via the pass and really get the defense off guard. Because when you do that, you set the tone of the game and really try to attack that defense and score on that opening possession. I think is going to be critical. But again, establishing the run with Peyton Barber is going to be the main focal point. But you don't want to be too conservative in where you get to a point where you're predictable. So you would like to see us, run more out of 11 personnel, which is 3 wide receiver sets or 3-by-1. Do more play action, do more passes to your backs out of the backfield to get some easy yards. So just little things like that. But I think patience is going to be the key, because you don't want to force the deep shot. You don't want to force, passes over the middle if they're not there. So I think that's what I saw from the last couple of games against the Saints. When our offense had success, we were just taking what's there as far as underneath routes and moving the ball down the field methodically.
Yeah. The one thing I did notice that the running game worked pretty good against the Saints, against with the Patriots and with the Chargers. I saw that the running game was working, but as they got the starters out and they started putting in the other players, it kind of went away. But just with those starters out there, it really helped with the play action pass. I don't expect to see a whole lot of that from Fitzpatrick, but again, that's something that they have shown to be susceptible to. But again, it's preseason, so we could be looking at something totally different. But if it's me, the run, like you said, getting the run going, like you and throwing the ball out of the backfield to the running backs is going to be big too. I mean, that's setting things up, for big plays. I mean, you could do that on second down, and nobody's expecting that. So I think you need that balance, but you need unpredictability as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And I'm a big believer of throwing on 1st and 10. And you just set your offense so much better, especially in the first quarter. I think we need to be really aggressive in the first quarter and try to jump out to that lead. You really want to try to put points on the board early, just because it sets up everything, the rest of the way. If you get the lead at halftime, you have an 80% chance of winning. So I think that is the big key right there. Try to jump out. And then once you get that passing game established and you get some rhythm, you can really pound the rock and really mix things up with, your handoff draws or play action passing game, using the screen game as well. So there's just a lot of things that you can build off of that.
Yeah. And, again, we talked about this offense in the first half with the Detroit Lions, I think that with them scheming, I think we could see a whole lot more. OJ Howard is somebody we haven't really talked about much. He could definitely be a safety blanket and somebody that's a big physical presence out there. Cameron Brate is another person we haven't really talked much about as well. Definitely those guys can help you keep moving the chains and keep the offense on the field. So just having that balance of run and pass can definitely help. It's a good thing to see Deshaun Jackson this preseason, seeing them use him a lot more. So it looks to me like they're building that chemistry, whether it's with Fitzpatrick or with Jameis Winston. They're building that chemistry with him, and there's another tool that you have to make this team better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's so many weapons on this team, and again, like I said, it's just finding ways to utilize them in the right position. And again, just find the weakest defender on the Saints and just keep attacking them. That's what the best teams, the best offenses really do. You see the Patriots and the Eagles, they do it weekly. They just find guys that they have the mismatch on, and they find ways to attack them consistently. Running the plays out of the same formation, running different variations of those plays. That's something that you have to do to be unpredictable, to be unconventional. That's something that, Dirk Cutter, I think, has done a better job in this preseason. Again, it's preseason, so you can't really take too much of it. They're not really scheming. But I'm hoping, for the most part, training camp wise, I've seen some innovation. Hopefully that will play into this week again or next week against the Saints.
Most definitely. There's not a reason for the Bucs not to have a successful offense this year, especially with the weapons that they have.
Right.
It comes back to execution. You'll hear me you'll hear me using the word execution throughout the season. That's going to be the key right there. Is when a play is called, hey, this is what you need to do. This is how you run your route. Let's get the ball to him. That's what you're supposed to do. So execution will be very important, and we expect to see that. How big do you think the running game will have to be for the Buccaneers to be successful? We've been hearing all off season about how tough the schedule is for Tampa, and just in your mind, how important will this running game be as this season progresses?
Yeah, I think the running game needs to be consistent. It has to be a factor for sure, especially this season if they want to, win games. It's got to be there. So, as far as week 1 against the Saints, I think it can be. I think it can be a factor, and I think it will be. But again, it depends on who's out there offensive line wise, because that's probably my biggest concern going into next week is the chemistry of the offensive line, not having Donovan Smith. So hopefully he plays. I think he's going to play, but just the overall chemistry. Donovan Smith and Marpet haven't played together yet in a regular season game. They haven't played with Ryan Jensen, so just I'm hoping they can pull it together and play well, because that's the key right there. The offensive line has to set the tone. But yeah, I mean, establishing the run is going to be critical. But that's why I said we need to find ways to open things up with our passing game, because that's where the strength lies in this team. That's just my opinion. You have receivers that can take over games if executed properly. So
yeah. And another guy I have to keep going back to him is Chris Godwin. The whole Buccaneers team, the team as a whole, is flying under the radar right now, and this is an opportunity for them, for the team to, take advantage of that kind of thing. You go out there and do what you do best. We saw Chris Godwin. We saw what Chris Godwin is capable of doing. We've continued to see him grow, and just how he came in from college into the pros. And now look where he is right now. I mean, it's just incredible. And it's hard to believe that so many teams passed on him and the Bucs were able to pick him up, which I'm nothing but happy about.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's going to make this team so much more dynamic just with his size and ability, and his ability to play on the outside. He's a really good route runner. So again, it's just about finding those mismatches. I mean, there's going to be mismatches that we can take advantage of, and the same thing goes with the Saints. So it's just about executing. Who's going to execute better? So we just got to find a way to make that happen.
Yeah, most definitely. So again, your overall thoughts on this game. This is a winnable game. I know a lot of
definitely
people will disagree. It was really interesting. I was watching the replay of the Saints Chargers game, and they talked about the NFC South, and every single commentator excluded the Bucs from the conversation. It's just basically the Falcons, the Panthers, and the Saints. So I'm good with that, but it just tells you just what everybody outside of the people that listen or the people that pay attention, the fans, the local media, everybody outside of them, nobody really knows what's going on until you get to see them out there on the field. So definitely something I'm looking forward to. And again, it's a winnable game. And, this is one of those things that the Bucs have to go out there and execute.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely a winnable game. The Saints are usually a slow starting team. I don't think they've won their season opener for the last 4 years now. So they usually start off slow to start their seasons. So I mean, we're hoping that happens again. We want to start 1-0, obviously, but for the Bucs, I think this is a great opportunity for this team to come out and make a statement. If they want to show the world that they're for real, and they want to show the national media that this team is ready to make a playoff run and get into the playoffs, it's a good time to go out there in New Orleans and really just beat the shit out of them. Really just take it to them and dominate. If they want to be back into that relevant conversation of the NFC South and earn that right, then you go into New Orleans and you show them, hey, we're not here to be the doormat anymore. We're here to take that next step. And I think that's definitely possible. Again, my concerns is obviously offensive line and defensive line. They're going to have to play well. I mean, they're going to be the tone setters for the season. So they have to come out and really just bring a fire to the field that we haven't seen in a while. And hopefully they have the guys, I think, in place to do that.
Yeah, most definitely. And it's going to take a little bit of time. I'm not making excuses off the rip, but it's going to take a little bit of time. This is a new defensive line, a lot of offensive linemen in and out with injuries and stuff. So who knows? They may all come together just like that. You just don't know. But at the end of the day, they have to go out and play. And, they have to, it's all about wins and losses this year. It's nothing about statistics. You can have statistics. It's all about, getting out there and getting those wins and getting Tampa pointed towards playoff contention.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And another thing, I mean, this is a huge game because it's a division game. So this counts as 2 wins right now. You win next week. That's pretty much 2 wins you can put on your record. So division game is very critical. And then, I know everyone's looking at the first 3 games, but again, the Saints is probably the most important one for this team because it's just you want to have that good start. You want to have that momentum, especially going into 2 home games. This would be huge for this team to get off to a fast start and really get the ball rolling.
All right. Well, I was gonna ask. It looks wow. We've almost talked the whole hour. That's crazy. I was gonna kind of see what you have coming up now. Any new articles that you have coming out?
Yeah, I got a new 53 roster projection. No, I'm just kidding. No,
a mock draft.
No, yeah, no mock drafts, no roster breakdowns. But no, I'll probably be talking more about the Saints. Really, just getting ready for that week. Talking about how this team needs to run more out of 11 personnel, go more into analytics. The Bucs might have a return game, so I might look into that. I really like what this Sean Wilson kid is bringing. So he's probably the only player I'm really going to watch tomorrow for the game, to be honest, is Sean Wilson and just seeing what he does.
Somebody you think makes the team?
To be honest, I don't know, because there's going to be a lot of veteran running backs that are going to be cut this weekend. And I think if they want another veteran that can add some spark and juice to the offense, I think they might look that way. But I think they really love Sean Wilson. So I think it's a hard time seeing them letting him go. Maybe could sneak him on the practice squad, but I don't know if they take that risk.
He won't.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, other than that, just talking about, 11 personnel in the offense, and then defensively, being more aggressive with our coverages and mixing those things up. Just some more analytical, the usual articles from Real Bucs Talk.
And just kind of curious, I know you're getting more in analytics now. Is there anything that you've seen from last season that can help you, as far as this season and what Tampa needs to do? Is there, as you've been looking at it, you see a whole lot more how?
Yeah.
Can you kind of give some examples?
Yeah, definitely. Don't throw the ball, or I'm sorry, don't run the ball on 2nd and 10. You should always throw the ball on 2nd and 10. And that's something the Bucs do way too often. They run the ball on 2nd and 10 because they feel they have to get those yards to make it 3rd and manageable. When 2nd and 10, if you throw it, you have a better chance of making it 3rd and short, or even getting a first down. So it's just little things like that. I think first quarter is the biggest thing I take away from analytics from last year. We were just so bad in the first quarter. It really set up a poor second quarter in which we got outscored by 1,000,000 points. So, it's just little things like that where we need to be more aggressive in the passing game to start off, and be attacking in attack mode, to really get those leads early and find a way to put points on the board to start games.
Yeah. I know the big thing for me is not playing from behind. That I know that sometimes that's one of those things you can't help. Tampa has always been that team that plays from behind, and it's so annoying when there are opportunities to make plays and those things don't happen, or the ball's turned over and unnecessarily. And so, just getting out to like you said, getting out to a fast start, and putting the team in a chance to win, not putting your defense in the hole where they have to fight their way out, and just kind of puts you in a bad way to start the game off. So you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Making sure that they get out there and take care of the ball on that first drive, more than anything.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's another thing, turnovers. But again, I look at last year and we actually won the turnover battle, and I think most of the games, but we lost. We lost most of them. We didn't win. We didn't win games when we won the turnover battle last year, which is very strange. It was just a strange year last year, to be honest. I mean, a lot of things just didn't go our way. A lot of injuries, just a lot of misplays that usually guys make. So I'm hoping this year we see a renewed focus, and I think we've seen that so far. Guys are locked in, and I think that's going to help us to get off to better starts and really make plays, to set up the tone for this season and really help our defense, which will allow them to get after the quarterback more. So it should be good. Yeah.
Again, we want to see market improvement from last season, and you've got new players in there, so just get the Bucs trending upward, and please let the Bucs win 7 games. I mean, at least. I mean, that's
no, we're going for 12.
And I'm starting small here, but we're working. Okay. Once we get past the 7th game, I'm good to go.
Hey, we got to shoot for the stars. So
there you go. All right. And any last words from you, Mike?
No, I mean, follow me at Real Bucs Talk. We're me and Mark Ramirez, who's in the chat today. We got some things that we're looking into. So doing some, we might have a new direction coming forward with Real Bucs Talk. We're still going to have the website and everything, but got some things on the horizon that we're looking at. And I think it's going to be exciting for everyone involved. And just can't wait for next week. It's going to be fun. So good football season, and Buc What You Heard is going to be very exciting this year with all the guests that we're going to have, and it's just going to be a fun time.
Yeah, most definitely. We're going to be having different podcasts from rival teams, and it's going to be really exciting. Next week, we will have somebody from the New Orleans Saints on to kind of talk about the Saints and the Saints versus the Bucs, and we'll kind of get their insight on things. It's going to be really interesting getting their thoughts on the Teddy Bridgewater trade, because I can tell you right now there are a lot of people that aren't happy about it. So see what happens. But anyway, that's pretty much it for us, and we are ready to roll out of here. But just remember, take care, everybody. Look out for each other. You are your brother's keeper. Have fun with football, man. It's an outlet from all the crazy stuff out there. And everybody remember, Buc What You Heard.
Go Bucs.
They're gonna catch another ship, yeah. And it's like a lotus, so it's time to flip the script, yeah. Cruising through the bay on the